Wasn't it just great when you make a horror game, then suddenly. Yeah. Hey guys, this is Free here, and today I'm just gonna like discuss or tell the background story of a called Christmas at Nave. In December 2016, the before Christmas, the early December. Not too early, like I forgot when is it, like 10 something. I I was about to make something like small, like a Christmas game to celebrate 2016's Christmas. So I was inspired by Nick's Christmas game, which he apparently hid it for some reason. A Cold Christmas at Nave wasn't a horror game. After that, this game was originally a small game about a little boy. In this case, it's not Sydney. Sydney was planned only after A Cold Christmas at Nave has turned into a horror game. So before this, it was a little boy who has transforming powers, and yes, he can like transform into I don't know, a cat or something. But either way, A Cold Christmas at Nave wasn't going to be something of a big project. It's just gonna be small until I found out that A Cold Christmas at Nave had a rich atmosphere, which makes it scary. It also, and another reason is that Spoop's game wants me to create a horror game, so that's why this was born. For a Cold Christmas at Nave, it was originally called A Cold Night at Nave, but to prevent it from misleading from being a cost, not being cost, what is that word? Being mistaken as an FNAF fan game, I changed A Cold Night at Nave to A Cold Christmas at Nave. The word Nave, the word Nave itself actually means the it actually means the part of the cathedral church, which in this case it's a name of a village. So it tells about a story about a young boy named Sydney who apparently escaped from some guy's house, and he needs to, and it's night in King Chambaya 7, which is voiced by the retarded teenager. He voiced at I think there's 4 notes that was voiced at by him, and he's voiced at King Chambaya 7. Either way, this king threw a big party in the castle, and he invited every peasants, or that's what they like to call the villagers. So King Chambaya 7 invited all villagers of Twilight Village to his castle. Well, during this, Sydney needs to get there because that's where everyone is. Now Sydney was not I'm not sure what to describe this character, but he's also kind of fearful, but at the same time I don't want to make him too fearful because there was it would make him hard, like I'm not sure if you're an adult, if you're watching this video, I'm not sure if you'll pass this, because the chapter 4 was kind of disturbing. There's something pretty disturbing as well, but not so disturbing, like this monster right here. This is called the choker, which apparently you might have guessed it already. It's inspired from the 7 grunts from Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Speaking of that game, this game was based. Well, I took that game as an example to make this game, because away from all of the bad horror games today that use jump scares, mostly jump scares to scare the player, Amnesia: The Dark Descent gives me the real scare. And speaking, most horror games that uses jump scares as their main component, that those kind of horror games doesn't give me any creeps at all. You kind of know what game I'm talking about already, but I'm just gonna keep myself silent. Either way, Amnesia: The Dark Descent gave me nightmares for at least 2 weeks, and even like the last week, I had a nightmare about these torture rooms, and the idea of these torture chambers also came from Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Man, I like that game a lot. It's really scary. You should go try it. It's worth it. By the way, back to the topic. There's like a lot of things. I was thinking that this game is really. I'm not sure what to talk about now. When I think it's my sister. When my sister played this game, she said that it's scarier than Five Nights at Freddy's. Then because yeah, I'm just gonna say that. By the way, Nick was voiced. No, Nick. The torturer was voice acted by Nick. Oh my god, what happened to me today? And King Brandenburg was voiced acted by Autotine. Four is also a voice act by Autotine. Also, talking about King Brandenburg, you might know where the name Brandenburg comes from already. It's also from Amnesia: The Dark Descent. In that game, there's a baron called Alexander of Brandenburg, which there's also an Alexander in this game, which is also inspired by that game. But Alexander is a baron, but his name is not his last name or surname or anything. He doesn't have something like Brandenburg in his name, because there's no Brandenburg in Amnesia: The Dark Descent. So I thought of why not make a King Brandenburg in this game. So here we go, the King Brandenburg. So I know that this game may get shut down by Amnesia: The Dark Descent, but whatever. If it does, I think I might change the name. You always gotta have a failsafe. So talking about here, Sydney. I wanted to draw Sydney as a child that is a fearful child that's right outside this dock, and it is you who has to guide him to safety. but dangers out there just lurks around and try to mess you up. In this game, I try to create the. Okay, let's not talk about that. So back to where I said this about Sydney. Sydney was a child, because most game that uses adult. I'm not sure how you can use any weapon beside you, like that sign that says castle. You certainly can use it to whack the choker that is pursuing you right now. In this game, it was because about an adult that is strong enough to do that. So I I I use this game. I talk about a child instead of an adult, because childs are cute but they're weak too. So in this case, Sydney is too weak to grab something, to whack his enemy. So your only option here is to run. And there now since that topic is over, let's just talk about the scare factor. Both Nave Auto Team, Autotine, and Nick rate this as 6. Personally, I think like 6 or 7 or 7, 6 to 8 is fine for me. But what I want to say is that there are a couple of jump scares in this game. So yeah, the jump scares are some may say it's scary, some may say it doesn't. But what I tried to do here is create a lot of tension before executing the jump scares. What this means is that try to, like the torture chambers, like when you, okay, spoiler ahead. In the torture chambers, there's one jump scare. Like when you see it, okay, you know like it there's gotta be something that's going to try to scare me. And when it doesn't happen, it makes you more tense and try to guess when the other time when it will try to scare you. And because of this, you're actually building the tension for your own. You're building it for yourself. No one's building. The game is not building. You're building it for your own. So just when you can't hand it anymore, when boom, a scary hand jumps at you. So this game is pretty hard. Well, not pretty hard. Some like the control is wonky. Sydney jumps very like it's like Sydney can't jump properly or can't slow down properly. Well, I actually tried to make it fit with how the reality is, but I know that you can still change direction while in mid-air, which in reality you can't do that. As a platformer, it's very hard because there's a couple of cliche in this game, like, or the physics that just don't work, like Sydney jumps higher than himself. But Sydney is not an athlete. A child jumping higher than half of its height, it's pretty much impossible or very, very hard already. Back to this game, I said I didn't really have good graphics, and the graphics are cartoonish. But I changed my style of drawing the next game, which is The Joy of Pi 2. It's technically almost the same as the Joy of Pi reimagined. It's more funny, but some it's not. Some is really funny, and I also try to make it less offensive. Now, also level 81. That is the masterpiece of how I release the tension really fast. In most horror games, most good horror games, they use the tension and release cycle, like Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Like this game, I tried to create the tension and release cycle in level 18. I'm not gonna tell you what that level is all about, but I'm just gonna tell you that it in level 80 it might generate a lot of tension in you. It might create a lot of tension inside of you. And in level 81, the next level, I'm just gonna release all of the tension that has created in you. And in the yeah also in level like the some levels after that, I try to just create some more tension, like to make you feel that maybe this level is not safe, or maybe it is, but I'm not gonna tell you which one is safe or which one isn't. At the end, most people might get the ending where Sydney was get killed by the torturer, but there is another ending, and two of this ending I'm not gonna tell you, but one of which is canon, and one of which is not canon. There are two endings, one canon and one non-canon. So good luck playing this game, and I'll see you guys next time. This is probably going to be the worst commentary ever or something, I don't know. But anyways, tired.